Hare Krishna. I welcome all devotees to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call, daily class. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. I'm so happy that you're here. And today, because Maharaj is unavailable, at the very last minute, I was asked to give the class. So I humbly request everyone's blessings. Please give me your mercy and your blessings so that I can do justice to this service that has been given to me. And please forgive me for any deficiencies, any faults. I'm open to correction and I'm happy to learn from you. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, entitled Birth of Emperor Parikshit, and we are on verse number 21. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we have the verse on the screen. I hope everyone can see. It goes like this. Dhanvinam agranir esha tulyascharjunayor dvayoho utash iva durdharsha samudra iva dushtaraha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Amongst great bowmen, this child will be as good as Arjun. He will be as irresistible as fire and as unsurpassable as the ocean. Purport. In history, there are two Arjunas. One is Kartavirya Arjun, the king of Haihaya, and the other is the grandfather of the child, Parikshit Maharaj. Both the Arjunas are famous for their bowmanship, and the child Parikshit is foretold to be equal to both of them, particularly in fighting. A short description of the Pandav Arjun is given below. Pandav Arjun, the great hero of the Bhagavad Gita, he is the Kshatriya son of Maharaj Pandu. Queen Kunti Devi, who is his mother, could call for any one of the demigods, and thus she called Indra, and Arjun was born by him. Arjun is therefore a plenary part of the heavenly king Indra. He was born in the month of Falgun, February, March, and therefore he is also called Falguni. When he appeared as the son of Kunti, his future greatness was proclaimed by air messages, and all the important personalities from different parts of the universe, such as the demigods, the Gandharvas, the Adityas from the sun globe, the Rudras, the Vasus, the Nagas, the different rishis or sages of great importance, and the Apsaras, the society girls of heaven, all attended the ceremony. The Apsaras pleased everyone by the heavenly dances and songs. Vasudev, the father of Lord Krishna, and the maternal uncle of Arjun, sent his priest representative Kashyap to purify Arjun by all the prescribed samskaras or reformatory processes. His samskar of being given a name was performed in the presence of the rishis, residents of Shatashringa. He married 4 wives, Draupadi, Subhadra, Chitrangada, and Ulupi, from whom he got 4 sons of the names Shrutakirti, Abhimanyu, Babruvahana, and Iravan, respectively. And just hang on for a minute, I'll be right back. During his student life, he was entrusted to study under the great Professor Dronacharya, along with other Pandavas and the Kurus. But he excelled everyone by his studious intensity, and Dronacharya was especially attracted by his disciplinary affection. Dronacharya accepted him as a first-grade scholar and loved heartily to bestow upon him all the blessings of military science. He was so ardent a student that he used to practice bowmanship even at night. And for all these reasons, Professor Dronacharya was determined to make him the topmost bowman of the world. He passed very brilliantly the examination in piercing the target, and Dronacharya was very pleased. Royal families at Manipur and Tripura are descendants of Arjun's son Babru. Arjun saved Dronacharya from the attack of a crocodile, and the Acharya, being pleased with him, rewarded him with a weapon of the name Brahmashiras. Maharaj Drupad was inimical towards Dronacharya, and thus when he attacked the Acharya, Arjun got him arrested and brought him before Dronacharya. He besieged a city of the name Ahitchatra, belonging to Maharaj Drupad, and after taking it over, he gave it to Dronacharya. The confidential treatment of the weapon, Brahmashiras, was explained to Arjun, and Dronacharya was promised by Arjun that he would use the weapon if necessary. When he, Dronacharya, personally became an enemy of Arjun. By this, the Acharya forecasted the future battle of Kurukshetra, in which Dronacharya was on the opposite side. Maharaj Drupad, although defeated by Arjun on behalf of his professor, Dronacharya, decided to hand over his daughter Draupadi to his young combatant. But he was disappointed when he heard the false news of Arjun's death in the fire of a Shalak house intrigued by Duryodhana. He therefore arranged for Draupadi's personal selection of a groom who could pierce the eye of a fish hanging on the ceiling. This trick was especially made because only Arjun could do it, and he was successful in his desire to hand over his equally worthy daughter to Arjun. Arjun's brothers were at that time living incognito under agreement with Duryodhana, and Arjun and his brothers attended the meeting of Draupadi's selection in the dress of Brahmanas. When all the Kshatriya kings assembled saw that a poor Brahmana had been garlanded by Draupadi for her lord, Sri Krishna disclosed his identity to Balaram. It's a very long purport, very long purport. So we will stop here for today and we will resume tomorrow. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Candramauli Swami Niti Namini. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are seeing a very wonderful description of how valiant, how brave, how talented, how gifted, how dedicated, how focused, and what a determined warrior was Arjun. As it is rightly stated in the very first sentence, he is the great hero of Bhagavad Gita. And this child, Emperor Parikshit, is being glorified as being equal to him in terms of bowmanship. That means he's also a very great archer and a very great fighter. In fact, the very last verse of Bhagavad Gita extols the virtues of Arjuna again by saying, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. How does it go like this? It goes, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Tatra Partha Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So here again, Arjuna is being glorified. Who is speaking? Sanjaya is speaking to Dhritarashtra. Let me try and pull that up for you. in just a second. Srimati is very busy, so she couldn't be the host. So I'm doubling up as the host and the giver of the class. So please bear with me. Chapter 18, verse 78, extremely famous verse. Here we go. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partha Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shirir Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there's Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjun, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So he's foretelling the victory of the Pandavas when he's speaking to Dhritarashtra. Because when the combination of the Lord and his pure devotee are there, there's no question that the opposite side will be defeated. So wherever there's Krishna, there's always victory, along with his devotees, along with his entourage. So here, the more detailed description of Arjuna is given. Now, Arjuna is not an ordinary person born in an ordinary way. Queen Kunti had greatly pleased Durvasa Muni by her very submissive and very dedicated and very diligent and very attentive service to him and cooking for him and taking care of him when this great sage visited her father's home. Kunti Boj was the king of that particular country, and she was his daughter. And she took such great care of Durvasa Muni, who is noted for being very hot-tempered, very angry person, very quick to take offense and pronounce curses. So, being a very intelligent young girl, she took great care to see that there was nothing deficient in her service to him. So much so that he became very pleased with her. And he said, I am going to grant you a boon that you can call any demigod you like, and you can have a child by that demigod. Now, this is a very powerful boon to give a young girl. And after the sage left, she became a little curious, being a young girl. She was thinking, really? If I pronounce this mantra, a demigod will really appear? I don't know whether this is really going to happen. Let me try to test the mantra and see. And she actually pronounced the mantra and called Suryadev, because she was sitting at the window and looking out at the sun, and said, let me see if I can call Suryadev. And sure enough, Suryadev appeared. Then she was terrified. She said, no, please go back. Please go back. I don't want a child by you. I'm not even married. And so she got very, very nervous and extremely frightened, because she was just a young princess, very, very, very innocent and very naive and very much sheltered in her father's kingdom. It would be a scandal if she got pregnant without marriage. And so she told him, go back. I can't have a child now. The sun god said, I am bound by this boon's benediction upon you. I have to give you a child. But I will give you a child in such a way that your virginity will be intact. The child will be born from your ear. So Karna was born, so the saying goes, from her ear. I'm not, so familiar with how all that happened, but that's what I'm being told. And the baby was born, and she got so afraid that she immediately took that newborn baby, wrapped him up, put him in a straw basket, and sent him floating down the river to his fate. She didn't want to have anything to do with him because she was so afraid of the consequences. And Karna was eventually found by a charioteer and brought up in his home. So therefore, his birth was always in question, though he was born in a very with a magnificent kavacham and kundalam and armor. He already had armor even as a baby, and he had earrings, resplendent, which the sun god gifted his son. So he's actually the son of the sun god. Similarly, later on, when she got married to Pandu requested her to call each of the demigods and have a son. So Yudhishthir was born of Dharmaraj. Arjun was born of Indra. Indra is the king of the heavens. So a very, very powerful personality. So therefore, Arjun is also called a plenary part of the heavenly king Indra. And Indra always is looking out for his son. Later on in the Mahabharata, we will see how he came to Arjun and warned him in the dream what was going to happen and how to conduct himself, etc., etc. That all comes later. So, because he is the son of the very powerful personality, Indra, when he was born, there were celestial voices proclaiming his birth. And you can see over here the description that all the people of the residents of the celestial worlds came to glorify this child who was born of their king, King Indra. The Apsaras were singing and dancing. Vasudev, who is the father of Lord Krishna, and the maternal uncle of Arjun, because he's the cousin to Kunti, sent his priest, Kashyap, to purify Arjun through the purificatory ceremony of Samskar, the birth ceremony. And his name giving was performed in the presence of rishis. Then, as he was growing up, he became very beloved. Okay, we'll stop the screen share. He became very beloved to Dronacharya because he was such an attentive student and so bent on reaching perfection. There's a very wonderful story that Arjun was such a great archer that when they were all as small children, they were playing with a ball. And the ball fell into a well, small ball, it fell into a well. And all the cousins were looking, what should we do? How should we get this ball out? Come on, do something, do something. Arjun, it is said, threw a very sharp blade of grass, so it pierced that little ball. Then he sent shaft after shaft of blades of grass to pierce that first blade of grass, then another shaft of grass to pierce in such a way that a rope was formed all the way to the top, and they pulled the ball out of the well. This is the saying of how great an archer he was, how sharp was his aim. Then, at another time, what happened was, Dronacharya was teaching all the Kauravas and the Pandavas, he was teaching them archery. He had placed a bird in a tree, and he told all of them, I want you to shoot at the eye of this bird. So all of you look very carefully. I want you to see everything very carefully and then take aim and shoot the eye of the bird. So one by one, he started calling everybody. Come on, Duryodhan, come. Do you see the sky? Yes, I see the sky. Do you see the tree? Yes, I see the tree. Sit down. Come on. Bhim, come on. What do you see? Do you see the tree? Yes, I see the tree. Do you see the bird? Yes, I see the bird. Sit down. Like this, he called one by one all of them. Then finally he called Arjun. He said, do you see the sky? No. Do you see the tree? No. Do you see the bird? No. What do you see? I only see the eye of the bird. Dronacharya said, shoot. And this focused attention on his target won him the hand of Draupadi. You see, Drupad was the father of Draupadi, and he wanted that only Arjun should win her hand. He was bent upon giving his daughter only to a very worthy person like Arjun. But because the Pandavas had to hide the last 1 year of their exile, they had to be incognito. That means they had to be in disguise. And of course, Duryodhan's spies were everywhere trying to discover. The condition was that if their disguise were to be exposed, I mean, they would discover who they really are, then they would go into exile again for another 14 years. So obviously the Pandavas were very keen to see to it that their disguise was, their actual identity was not discovered. So when the word came out that, oh, the Pandavas are killed in the stage managed accidental fire of Duryodhan, actually the Pandavas escaped by digging a tunnel underneath that palace of Lak. They had been warned by Vidur that this is going to happen. So they very cleverly made a tunnel underneath that palace and came out of that palace and escaped from that fire. But they came to know that King Drupad was going to hold a Swayamvar. Swayam means by myself. Swayam means myself, by my own self. Var means marriage, choosing a husband actually. Var means choosing a husband. Swayamvar therefore was what princesses were given the privilege of doing. That means there was a whole assembly of various princes, and each one of their glories were either read out or proclaimed by the person who was talking about each prince. And whoever the princess liked, she would garland him as her husband. So she chose her own husband actually. So King Drupad arranged for this. And guess who comes as a poor Brahmana? That is Arjun. So he came like that just to, keep his identity unknown. But eventually, of course, people came to know that Arjun won the hand of Draupadi. But at that time, when he actually took part in that competition, it was not known. So the test was very severe test. Very, very high up on the ceiling was a rotating fish attached to a spoke, a wheel actually. And that fish was on the edge of the wheel. And that wheel was rotating at high speed. Okay. So the target was the eye of the fish. Again, see how difficult this is. And the archer cannot look up at the target and shoot the arrow. The condition was that he must look down in a reflection of water. The whole thing was reflected in a pool of water below, exactly below that shaft and the pole and the revolving wheel. Everything was reflected in the water. And Arjun had to look down and shoot the arrow upward at the eye of the fish. How tough is that? Huh? Can we imagine even how tough that is? It's revolving at high speed. It's a fish with an eye. The eye of the fish is the target. And you cannot look up at it. You have to look at the reflection in the water below and shoot the arrow. And Arjun did it. And that's how he won the hand of Draupadi. Of course, Drupad was overjoyed to know that his daughter is going to marry Arjun. And Draupadi, of course, was very happy to know that she's going to marry Arjun. And that's how he won the hand of Draupadi, the very beautiful princess of, I don't remember the kingdom she comes from, Magad maybe, but I'm not sure about that. So that's how he married her and won her hand. Now, Draupadi is a very, very powerful personality, a pure devotee, and extremely gifted. So therefore, she is a heroine, you can say, of Mahabharata, in the sense that she ultimately, that's an interesting story. So when Arjun brought her back home, he announced to his mother, who was standing in front of the altar with her back to him, saying her evening prayers. She said, "Look, mother, look what I have brought." And Kunti, without turning around, said, "Whatever it is, my dear son, please share it equally with your brothers." And so, because Arjun and the brothers always very faithfully followed their mother's word, Kunti became the wife of all the 5 Pandavas. Now you might say, what is this? How is it possible? But Draupadi was actually given a boon by Lord Shiva. She didn't have a husband in her previous life. And she had been praying for her husband, desperately praying for her husband. So when Lord Shiva appeared, she said, "Give me a husband, give me a husband, give me a husband, give me a husband, please give me a husband." And so Shiva immediately said, "Tatastu." So since she asked 5 times, Shiva said, "You're going to get 5 husbands." So that is how in her next lifetime, she got 5 husbands. So why all these things are important to know about Arjun is because he was a very great warrior. As it's explained over here, great children are born of great warriors. So Abhimanyu, the son of Arjun, was also a very great warrior. He actually heard all about the Chakra Vyuha, a particular battle formation and how to penetrate it, when Arjun was explaining it to his mother, Subhadra, in the womb. So Abhimanyu was very attentively listening to all the lessons in archery and how to enter into this Chakravyuha, how to penetrate this battle formation. And that is how, at the age of 16, when that situation presented itself, where all the Maharathis were there and this particular battle formation was there, he knew exactly how to enter. But the thing is, when Arjun was explaining to Subhadra how to get out of the Chakravyuha, he got interrupted. So the child in the womb did not hear that part of how to get out of that Chakravyuha after penetrating it. So that's exactly what happened in the Mahabharata war. He was surrounded. He knew how to fight. He knew how to penetrate. He was very brave. And he penetrated that battle formation, which was nearly impenetrable because so many great warriors were there. But then he could not get out. And that is how they surrounded him. And actually, it was a very unfair fight because one 16-year-old warrior against several, many, very, very skilled warriors. But that's what happened. And so Abhimanyu lost his life. But then his child now is Parikshit Maharaj, is also a very famous warrior and very famous woman. So we can see how the great souls will actually beget great souls because they are pious activities, their skills, their great deeds are actually so meritorious and so worthy and so pleasing to the Lord. So the Lord arranges for great souls to be born to such righteous people. Of course, this is not always the case. For Maharaj Vena was a very cruel and very evil king, born to a very pious king. That's a different story. But then he goes on to have a very pious son, King Prithu Maharaj. Sometimes these things, but in general, you can see that they had very great warrior children because they were great warriors themselves. Now, different explanations are given about all the different activities and achievements carried out by Arjun. Arjun even went to the heavenly kingdom, and that's how the society, the heavenly nymphs, fell in love with him and wanted to marry him. But he remained firm and refused to marry Urvashi, saying that you are like my mother. That we will see further down the line. All right, so I will stop over here. Description of the valor, the prowess, and the great archery of Arjun in relation to his grandson Maharaj Parikshit. And we can now open up for questions, for comments, for corrections, for realization. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So if you can all turn on your cameras, that will be very nice. I will be able to see you all. My mother would be able to recite all 8 names of Arjun. I'm trying to remember the 8 names, but I cannot remember. Sabyasachi, Dhananjay, Bal, Kaunteya, like that. There are several names of Arjun, very famous. And they say that if you recite these 8 names, you can bring rain. Of course, devotees want to chant Hare Krishna and bring rain. But there's a saying like this. That's how powerful Arjun is. He's so dear to the Lord.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Namrata. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev.
My humble obeisances to you too. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our Guru Maharaj. All glories to the wonderful Vaishnavas present here. So yes, this was a nice verse. I could recall the, Mahabharat series, which I used to watch in my childhood. It was playing as a reel. So thank you. Uh, just wanted to ask that Arjun is quite very famous for his power of focus. Uh, he's very focused. I always, of course, I always give examples of Arjun right from the childhood to my. He's still a boy, but my son, I always give him the example of Arjun, that he has a powerful focus. So if you ever want to, develop that, you should go down and pray to him. So we do say that, but then when I see to myself, when I'm chanting, I feel that I should also do that, because many times it happens that while chanting, my focus is going. So especially there are a lot of areas where we happen to lose our focus, but then for me, I want to develop my chanting more. And so if you can give some tips basically to uh, develop focus when we are chanting.
Very nice question. Very nice question. And so relevant for all of us, you know. It's so important what you have asked, because practically all our advancement depends on the quality of our chanting. Srila Prabhupada said 99% of your advancement comes from the quality of your chanting. At another time, he said 90%. At another time, he said 95%, like that. So how important it is to chant with attention, with focus, with love, with a deep feeling of calling out to Krishna, like a child calling out to the mother. That's the description. So how can we develop this focus? First, we need to read more about the glories of the holy name. I will highly recommend that you set aside a little time every day to read these following books. You ready? Are you ready to hear? Yeah, it would be nice to write them down too. First is to get the little booklet by His Grace Mahatma Prabhu called Japa Affirmation. It's a tiny little booklet, but boy, it is so powerful. It's very tiny. It fits into the palm of your hand. It's so small. 20 affirmations on japa. And just read one every day before you start your japa. Believe me, your japa will start getting transformed just by reading that. Second, try to read Sri Namamrita, the nectar of the holy name. It's a compilation of all the glorifications of the holy name. I think it is by Shubha Vilas Prabhu. It is available even on internet, free, PDF, openly available, Sri Namamrita. The second, third, and fourth books that I would also like you to read is The Nectarian Ocean of the Holy Name by Sachinandan Maharaj, and The Living Name, also by Sachinandan Maharaj. Then there's another book called Japa, I think by Purijan Prabhu, Purijan Maharaj. All these books are extremely beneficial for improving our japa, because mind is very restless. Chanchalahi Mana Krishna is very mischievous, very naughty, disobedient, restless, turbulent, etc., etc. And this mind has been with us for millions of lifetimes. The same mind following us life after life after life. So it is a repository at the conscious and unconscious level of so many things that sometimes we are not even aware of what all things are in our mind. So attachments, aversions, likes, dislikes, prejudices, all the entanglements to this material energy are there stored in the mind. So for the mind to get purified, focused chanting is very important. And for focused chanting to happen, controlling the mind. So there are three main obstacles to focused chanting. Audasinya, Vikshepa, and Jadya. What are these three? Causing inattention to the holy name. Audasinya means indifference. Because we don't really understand the value of chanting, because we don't really know the glories of the holy name and how powerful Krishna's name is Krishna. So we are indifferent. We chant, but we are indifferent. We just do it as one more chore. Vikshepa is distraction. Mind is going here, there. Very nice dhoti. Wow, such a nice shawl. I also want to buy that. Oh, look, nice purse like this. Or if we are not watching other people, then our mind goes to our own business. I have to do this. I have to get this. I have to buy that. I have to take care of that. I have to do this. Oh, Krishna, look at me. And so on and so on, so on, so on. Like this. All the while, mind going all over the place. That's vikshepa, distraction. And the third is jadya, laziness. So the cure for all of this is to sit in the association of devotees who are enthusiastic with chant. It is highly recommended that we chant in the association of devotees. Now, all of us may not be able to get association of devotees, but we can get association online. Join a japa group online, because alone it is very hard to chant. Material energy is very powerful, so it's very difficult to chant. So, in Mumbai, I think Meera Road, there is a chanting group. 4:30 in the morning, they begin online on Zoom, conducted by Vishwarup Prabhu. They begin at 4:30 and they end at 6 with a small talk, I think, on the holy name or Srimad Bhagavatam, something like that, 6 to 6:15 or 6:20. He gives a small class, mini class. So every morning, many devotees come together to chant. Then, here in America, for you, Brajavilasini, there is the Japa group conducted by the Bhakti Sangha group. They all chant together every day. Every day in the morning, they begin their chanting together and they chant for, I think, 2 hours or so. And then they do a daily Srimad Bhagavatam class in English. Of course, you may not be able to do the whole thing, but at least you will have the associated strength of devotees. Remember, like birds in a formation flying together, each gives strength to the other. We get more enthusiastic about chanting when we are chanting with others, even if it's online. Even if it's online. So it's very powerful to chant in the association of devotees, and chanting alone becomes like a superhuman feat. So I would highly recommend that you seek association of devotees to chant. That will be very beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. I think I'm already reading Japa meditation and the affirmations of Mahatma Das Prabhuji. Yes, I have that book, and I do read that book. But then it also happens that I don't every day read that book. That is why I think I am getting off track. So yes, thank you for reminding me of this book. And the other thing you mentioned about the association of devotees for chanting. Yes, I'll definitely try to do that also. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Welcome. Very nice question. Very nice question. Thank you. Shilpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj.
Please accept mine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our Guru Maharaj.
Just to add to your discussion, I've often been told it's good to read prayers before you chant. Like the six, I can't say it today. It's so hot here. I'm melting, but
That's the prayer. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. I think there's another
very nice point. Yes.
There's another one.
Yes.
I'll just try to find it because I've got it saved on my phone. But a senior devote told me to read another one as well if I can find it.
Yeah, Namastakam.
Yes, that's the one. Namastakam, yes, Namastakam, yes.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Prayers to the holy name. Excellent point. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us about it, Shilpesh Prabhu. Beautiful points. Namrata, you can take a note of that too.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Shilpesh Prabhu.
Parikshit Prabhu, if you'd like to add something, I know you just joined, but the question Namrata posed to all of us is, how can I improve the quality of my chanting? Because I tend to be very distracted. So if your grace would like to give us all some tips, we would be very happy to hear.
I was scrolling to hear from what you were going to say about it. Focusing and using as many of the senses as possible. Those two things. Using as many of the senses as possible. I saw a video on Facebook, just a little clip of Jack Dakamaj answering the question about chanting. And the question that was put to him was it good to chant out loud or chant silently in a meditative mood? And he said that, he didn't answer himself. He says, Haridas Thakur said that chanting out loud is 100 times better than chanting in silence, because when one chants out loud, then so many living entities who are in the immediate area, they also benefit from hearing the holy name. Their souls hearing the holy name. And so it was a good idea, to chant. But we also know that when we chant out loud, then we can hear the holy name. We can hear the holy name. And that means using one more sense. And so the more senses that we're able to use, the more focus, connected with the holy name, the chanting the holy name, the better off we are. The better off we are with our concentration. So those are the things that I know about Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you so much. Always wonderful to hear from you. We always get to learn something.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Go to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Go ahead, Shilpesh Prabhu.
I just wanted to mention Mahatma Das is here today at the Manor, and he was doing a Japa workshop this morning. So you just mentioned him, but yeah, they're all here today. Rajumna Maharaj, they're going to be doing the Kirtan today. And tomorrow, there's a lot of Japa workshops this weekend. It's an immersion in the Holy Name weekend.
Okay.
50th year of Manor anniversaries.
Nice. Wonderful. Immerse yourself in the holy name, Shilpesh Prabhu. This is your chance.
Thank you.
And then share the nectar with us after that, okay?
Great.
So any other questions, comments, realizations, experiences, anything that you would like to share? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, David Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Please accept my
Jai. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev.
So Mataji, I know you mentioned that about that the Bhakti Sangha group who's chanting every morning in a chat. So that was my first call when I was starting my new, when I started introduced to the ISKCON, and that was my first group. I started with that, and I was doing that chanting with them. But the problem is with me, Mataji, there's too many, too many people joining, and I'm I'm not concentrating myself because I'm oh, I'm hearing someone else chanting, and I'm who's getting better, who's loud, who's and so I'm not concentrating on my chanting. I'm always concentrating on others chanting. That was my problem. That's why I always like to chanting myself, it's silent, and I would like to hear my chanting. I know mine is always wandering here and there, not concentrating all the times, but that was my problem. So do you have any suggestion with that kind?
Yeah, well, if you're chanting better on your own, well, great. Just keep going. Whatever is helping your chanting, just do that. Don't have to, oh, how is it that I'm chanting better? If you're chanting better on your own, very good. You can see, it's not one size fits all. We are all very unique individuals. Each soul is very unique. So everyone may not be comfortable chanting in a group. Some people are and some people are not. So if you're perfectly all right chanting on your own, No problem. Keep going with that.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Just
you.
want to piggyback a little bit on it.
Okay.
Is it possible to lower the volume of the Zoom for those people who are chanting on the Bhakti Sangha Japa group? If you can lower your computer or cell phone or whatever you use, can lower the volume from that down, then probably it won't be as distracting. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, Prabhuji, that's right. That's what I used to doing it. I lower the volume so I cannot hear them. I'm still joining the call, but like I lower the volume, I cannot hear them, and I just chanting. That's what I'm like doing it, you know.
If it's important for you to see them chant and so on, you know.
Like that's like you said,
It's
association. Like you not
yeah,
chanting by yourself. That's with all
yeah.
the other devotees, you know.
It's an electronic sangha, but if it is distracting
Right,
to
you know.
you,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
yeah. Actually, Chandramauli Swami has mentioned this point about devotees having the chance so they can hear themselves chant and not have other sources of chanting overtake what they hear. I remember there was a lecture here, a Zoom lecture, that Chandramauli Swami mentioned that.
Yes. Absolutely correct. Yes, Parikshit Prabhu, you're absolutely right. Thank you for the reminder. We must hear our own selves chanting. No, that's very important. And the other sound shouldn't overpower our own voice. So even if you're playing, some people like to play Srila Prabhupada Japati or the Guru Maharaj's Japati. Even so, you should keep the volume. What Srila Prabhupada said, you should chant loud enough for you to hear yourself and just about hear others. That means you are aware that others are chanting, but you're not really hearing them. You're hearing your own voice. So that is why in a group, sometimes if one person chants loudly, somebody will go and say, Prabhu, I've been told, Mataji, can you just lower the volume? Because when I get I'm chatting very loud and I don't realize others are getting affected. So then some people have to come in, Mataji, just tone it down. Then immediately I go down because you're affecting others then. So you should chant in such a way that, but whatever works for you, Brajavilasini. I don't want to be like, the story of the centipede. She was going along quite well on her own. And then somebody asked her which leg comes after which leg. And then the toad, in spite, asked her which leg comes after which leg. And then she got so distracted by that, she couldn't walk anymore. So, you're coasting along fine with whatever you're doing. Just do more and better. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Hare
Confused by.
Krishna. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, please. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, my dear Brajavilasini. I pray for more and happier chanting for you. Yes, Shilpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Sorry, back again. Just wanted to comment that the most effortless chanting I've ever experienced is like in the morning program after Mangalarti and Tulsi Puja, and also in chanting in Srila Prabhupada's rooms. It's very potent to be in there and chant.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Because then you're really connected to Krishna, and then it's like, you're really in the zone practically, and there's no impediment, there's no obstruction. That's the most beautiful chanting to experience. I'm so happy that you had that beautiful experience. Yes, Namrata.
Thank you. Mataji, please pray for me too. I just wanted to share my experience when there's certain times when I really have wonderful chanting, but I can say that is not consistent for me. But then I do have a wonderful time when at certain period of time, because like for me it helps when I have been hearing or reading Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, or some very good devotees speaking on some wonderful pastimes. So when I hear that, after that, when I chant, then it's a very good mood, set up for the chanting. So that is one thing which I have experienced. And another thing is, I previously mentioned that giving a class, when I gave a class last time, I think that was a time when I referred to a lot of, references. So that was going on a lot in my mind. So as you said, improving my reading. So I think when reading is more, your japa gets really affected after that.
Very
So-
true. Very, very true. Giving a class is a very powerful experience, and next day your chanting automatically improves. So everybody
Yes.
class.
And before a few days, Radha Vinodini Mataji gave a class, and he mentioned, I think he played a tape of Indradyumna Swami, and he gave us a link also. I checked out that link, and there was a series of lecture by Indradyumna Swami. He had done amazing research with the Vrindavan Research Institute, and he was sharing the pastimes of some intricate pastimes of Vrindavan, and especially Barsana. So that is also one of the videos that really helped me absorb more. So I think I keep finding and exploring in to get some better japas.
Very nice, very nice. Keep going. Don't give up. That's the whole thing. We should never stop trying to improve our japa. It can always improve. Always. Everything that comes that is favorable and helpful, grab it.
Yeah, so since I was just, this is a question or so, I'm not sure, but then sometimes it happens that I'm hearing and doing my job. Sometimes I'm reading, sometimes I'm praying. So it's not consistent. I am like a butterfly. I'm trying to suck nectar from flowers and flowers to get that, gather it. So I hope that is right. Uh, I'm not sure it is the fluctuation of a mind or doing endeavor.
Well, why if you're scrolling through your phone trying to find the latest quote on japa and all, that's not such a good idea. You can do all your research at other times. Your reading time should be your time for exploring different things. But japa time is for japa. Oh, I think she lost her internet. Just jumped off. Oh, there you are. Are you back?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get my answer?
Yeah, you said japa time is your japa time.
Japa
Yeah.
time. Yes.
That's what I like.
Yes. And all other times, as part of your reading, as part of your expanding your knowledge base, you can explore, all the other things you talked about. But chanting time is for chanting. Nothing else. Try to hear. Just try to focus on hearing, because the Mahamantra is Radha and Krishna in sound. Mahatma Prabhu says it is deity in the sound, in the form of sound vibration. Krishna is coming to you in the form of sound. Just try to hear.
So, Mataji, what I was telling is basically the setting a base before we chant.
That's
Like,
very important. If you just jump into a japa without any preparatory phase, mind will go all over the place. We have to do something to purify the mind, either attend the morning program or sing the prayers or chant or read, prayers like that. As Shilpesh Prabhu said, as Parikshit Prabhu has also reminded us how important it is. So we need to prepare the mind to chant. We are getting ready to chant. It's like entering into the sacred space where only you and Krishna are there. So you shut out everything else. You know, Mahatma Prabhu says, I'm going to shut out my world and get into Krishna's world. Thank
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Rajavilasini, you raised your hand, and that's the last question we'll take for today, or realization or sharing of your experience. Yes, Brajavilasini, your hand is raised. You want to say something?
No, Mataji, I don't know why. It must be from the previous one.
Okay, okay.
I don't know.
Devotees,
It's gone.
other last questions, comments, sharing? We will be happy to hear before we end today's call. Okay, thank you all very much. Happy chanting, especially to you, Shilpesh Prabhu. Don't forget to share the nectar with us. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Gurudev, Hare Krishna. My most humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhya sindhubhya evacha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sridevi.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Good night. Hare Krishna.
Thank you and good night. Yes,
Prabhupada.
thank you.
Good night.
Hare Krishna. I will
Hare
now end
Krishna.
the call. See you all tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hare